Have you ever plugged in your guitar, turned every knob to 10, and still felt like you were playing through a wet blanket? It's the universal frustration. You have the gear, you have the hands, but the sound coming out of the speaker is just a guitar. It's polite, it's safe, it's boring. You're looking for a voice that screams, but all you're getting is a whisper. What if I told you the most iconic, earth-shaking sound in progressive rock history, a sound that literally sounds like an angry elephant charging through your living room, wasn't made by a $1 million synthesizer? What if the secret wasn't a piece of high-tech wizardry, but a battle between a man and a cheap wooden box?
Paul Simon's Graceland, wow. Da 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 da. That's me. I played it on guitar synthesizer, so it fools people. They think it's a horn section, but it's actually me.
You see, most people think the legendary elephant sound from King Crimson was a high-tech miracle of the 80s. They assume it was a digital machine doing the heavy lifting. But they are wrong. It was actually a nightmare to create. It was a physical fight against the very nature of electricity. And if you understand how the man won that fight, you'll never look at your pedal board the same way again. Think about Adrian Belew in 1980.
You know, because we both graduated from what we call the Zappa School of Rock.
Yes.
And that is when Frank really showed me how to be a professional recording artist, touring musician, showed me everything I really need to know.
He's just spent years in the musical trenches with Frank Zappa. Now Zappa's band was a gauntlet. It was a place where good enough went to die. It was clinical, it was mathematical, it was cold.
He was the consummate band leader. I mean, he told you exactly the way he wanted things to be. He didn't leave a lot of room for you to create. That wasn't the idea. The idea was to play his music consistently and correctly.
I was the only one in the band who was not a reader. Everyone else would read the parts from a score on Monday. Belew was playing perfectly, but he was suffocating. He was a painter trapped in an accountant's office.
So I got sick and a friend loaned me a guitar and I started trying to figure out how to do it. In other words, I only really started to be a songwriter. I didn't think I'd ever be an electric guitarist, but once I tried a pedal, that was it, you know. I was stuck.
He didn't just want to play notes, he wanted to play the smell of ozone. He wanted the weight of a jungle predator in his hands. So he did something that shouldn't have worked. I tried out my pedals and I could see in the studio room they're all jumping up and down, listening to all the sounds.
Lots of squish, lots of sustain. From there, we go into the late 70s. It's a V4 op-amp Big Muff with tone bypass. That's in a shared loop with the MXR 10-band EQ. And that stays together for some fun, weird oscillation.
He took a Big Muff, a pedal known for being a thick, muddy bully that usually hogs all the space in the mix, and he tried to make it sing. But here's the thing about it. That Big Muff is a beast. It's a wall of fuzz that usually sounds like a swarm of bees trapped in a metal trash can. On its own, it's just noise. It's ugly. It's thick. It's limp. To say that Adrian Belew is a guitarist is kind of not quite putting it right. Belew's genius wasn't in finding a pretty sound. It was in finding the friction. He didn't just step onto the pedal, he attacked the guitar. He would strike a note and immediately dive-bomb the tremolo-arm until the strings were so loose they were flapping against the pickups like a dying bird. He was intentionally breaking the sound. He was forcing the guitar to fail.
A Crimson record that I was a part of, which was called Discipline. And the elephant sound is a flanger that's turned very, very slowly so that it makes sort of a sine wave, like a vibrato almost. And at the same time, then it's a fuzz tone. I used to use a Big Muff, but...
Now think about that moment of failure. When the strings are slack and the Big Muff is screaming for air, he engaged a flanger, not a subtle, shimmering flanger. He set it to a slow, agonizing sweep that felt like an ice pick in the ear. The elephant wasn't born from a clean signal, it was born from a collision of ugly gear. But here's the counterintuitive reveal that most guitarists miss. You think to get the sound that massive, you'd need to pile on the gain and the bass. You think you need a fat tone. Actually, the secret to the elephant is that the signal is surprisingly thin. If you heard that guitar track in isolation, without the rest of King Crimson, it would sound like a broken radio. It would sound shrill, jagged, and honestly, kind of terrible. It's a mistake of a sound. But when that thin, jagged scream hits the air, it cuts through the bass and drums like a hot knife through butter. It doesn't hog the space, it carves its own territory. It was a total no-synth illusion. While everyone else in the 80s was spending thousands on digital keyboards to get new sounds, Belew was using gear that was already considered old hat. He was proving that the technology isn't the boss, the player is.
I have mounted the same exact piece of gear that I had back in the 80s. It's called the Electro-Harmonix Echo Flanger.
He was fighting the polite nature of the instrument, turning a piece of wood and some wires into a living, breathing menagerie. It couldn't have been any two guitarists. Adrian was the man. He transitioned from Zappa's world, where every note was a command, to King Crimson, where Robert Fripp gave him the space to be a monster.
Bill Bruford, oh my God, he beat up on Bill all the time, but Bill could take it and give it right back. But he never was that way with me. Strangely, he gave me full reign and we became best buddies. I don't know how many hundreds of hours we worked right in this very room, and he stayed in the downstairs guest room.
And in that space, the elephant was born. I was way over my head. I thought I'd have a little Beatle band. It wasn't a technical achievement, it was a victory of imagination over hardware.
No one much soloed in either of those bands, so take it away. You're the soloist here. Go crazy with it. Frank gave me a little bit of room to solo, but that wasn't the idea, and I appreciate it.
It was the moment the guitar stopped being a guitar and started being a voice. So the next time you feel like your gear is holding you back or your sound feels safe and muddy, remember the elephant. Stop trying to find the perfect tone and start looking for the friction. Stop being an accountant and start being a painter. It's never ever been about scales or anything like that. My drive has always been to make the guitar sound interesting and do interesting things with it. The most powerful sound in your room isn't in the manual, it's in the way you break the rules. Tear settings apart. Listen for the moment the gear starts to scream, and remember, the secret isn't in the machine, it's in the person brave enough to push it until it breaks. Stay curious and just listen. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.